Thank you, Lord.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Duality Podcast. I'll be Mr. Business. Mr. Social will not be here today due to some medical issues that he has to deal with. The brother's doing good. He just got to do what he need to do right now. So hopefully he'll be back next Sunday. So with that being said, hope everybody's having a good day. We took last week off. If anybody know by seeing pictures and stuff, we had a guy reunion, high school situation. Just wanted to enjoy the brotherhood that we have collected over 30 plus, some of us 40 plus years. So there was a very good event, and I think everybody should, catch up with their peoples because COVID made it kind of hard over the last year and some change. So it was nice seeing all the fellas. Now, let's get to some business at hand. First off, we're going to talk about COVID and the mask, no mask. Governor Murphy, smart man in this regard. He wasn't playing the pick and choose who wears a mask and who doesn't indoors. So everybody indoors is still a mask. Outdoors, you don't have to wear a mask. So he cut out the guesswork, and that was a good thing because a lot of states are having issues with who can and who can't. So he cut all that out, and so that was a good thing. And so, summertime is coming. COVID is still here. Is it possible it might be a super spreader? Who knows? Last summer it wasn't bad, so they said the heat, hot weather is kind of a defendant against COVID. Well, I don't know about the new variants, but it has served us well. The summer, the heat has served us well. So because of that, I'm hoping everybody have a very good summer. I'm seeing already, promotional wise, people is jumping in. They jumping in already, promotional wise. I'm just gonna be honest. Like I'm seeing, everybody has an after work already, except for Tuesdays. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, let's see. Ricky Clark has an after work starting. Is it January, June 4th or something like that, on a Monday. Nobody as of yet that I know has a Tuesday. Tamir has Linden on Wednesday. He kicked off already. Thursday, I seen where Dawood will be doing the after work in Elizabeth, Mexican restaurant. Who knew? But, wish him luck with that. So that'll be a Thursday after work. Qua already started the Mr. East Friday after work. Deuce Martinez will be having the block party. I think starts June 4th, I think it is. At the Taj. So, pretty much, After work is covered. Now, there's a Tuesday slot still open. Then I also seen where Thursday there was something at Rawway train station. Pretty nice crowd. You know, looked like everybody was enjoying themselves, and so I don't know if that's going to be a weekly or how that's going to work, but that was something that was happening. So for the most part, you have something to do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday after work. So with that being said, I'm going to give y'all this. GV Entertainment, we back. We haven't done an event since February 29th, 2019. This will be our first event for the year. Grown Folks Brunch. 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. $10 admission. 3-course brunch, $26.95. We'll be having drink specials. We're going to have vendors. And here's the kicker. 40 years of age and over. Okay? This is not for a younger crowd. This is for our age. 40 plus. We're catering to that market right now. And we're going to kick it off June 12th. Once again, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m., $10 admission, 3-course brunch. DJ Jess, he has done work for the Apollo. He has a nice resume. He will be your selector for the event. So, come on out. Enjoy some good food, some good music. You know, shop a little while you're there. So we're trying to give it all to you in one spot. That's what we're trying to do. You know, it should work out. So just come on through 1 to 6, June 12th. Come have a good time. You want to wear some 80s gear? That's even better. Soak up the ambiance of it. That'd be nice too. But at the end of the day, June 12th, there's parking garages, things of that nature that's all around Dolce Lounge in Elizabeth. So parking is not an issue. Free parking, maybe, but parking is not an issue. So come through, enjoy yourself. We love to see you. It's been a while. Some people we haven't seen since 2019. So come through, enjoy yourself. And that's all I'm going to say about that particular event. So now we're going to talk about this Asian hate crime bill. Now, when it was an executive order type deal, I was like, I guess now, when I look at it, it's interesting that they got a bill passed before the George Floyd bill. And the question is, why? How? What is the optics here? Like, are you saying that the brutality against the Asian community was way more barbaric than it has been against African Americans? Because when you do things like this, that's exactly what you're saying. And it's not fair, it's not right, And something should be done about it. Now, what can be done, that's you know, you have to pick your direction with this, but stay the course, whatever that direction is. Because I'm not understanding how the Sandra Bland's of the world, the Breonna Tellers of the world, the Tamir Rice of the world, you know, nothing. You know, there's more. Trayvon, I know there's a lot more. But the premise is, you mean to tell me none of those deaths was worthy enough to have a bill? But the spike in Asian violence was worth the bill. Now, granted, I'm not taking nothing from the Asian community, not at all. Because what's happening to them is unfair, is unjust. And yes, they do deserve justice. Where I have a problem with this is to hit one is immediately a hate crime. Immediately. Just to hit one. But to kill an Afro-American man, male or female, it's up to interpretation in 2021. How? Like, it's getting to a point where we almost gonna have to stop asking. Well, I've already said this in previous shows. Ain't no need to keep asking. But it's getting very close, if not past due, that we truly fight for the justice that we want. And not just kumbaya it, not just maybe next time. Because it's getting they're very open with the disrespect of black people, people of color, whatever word they want to use. Their disrespect has become apparently blatant, and they doing this in the open now. Don't you think we deserve better? More treated better? And for people that talk about the civil rights movement, but the civil rights movement wasn't about just black people. That was about equality, period, of minorities, period. That bill was not a African American bill. It was not a black people's bill. Now, this bill is strictly an Asian bill. We're going to have to decide where we're willing to go with this.
She says the laws were not passed to include us, so now every other race will get help from the government before us.
Okay, Kira, niece, you're absolutely correct. The problem is, it doesn't make it right. That's the problem. It does not make it right. even though the laws didn't include us because we was, as they call it, subhuman, we was livestock. I get all that. But this is 2021. They creating laws every day for everybody but us. So I'm not trying to go back 50 years, 100 years no more. You know, granted, we can say, oh, we was oppressed 400 years. Okay, I get all that. Yeah, fine. I'm talking right now, let's say the last decade. They had ample opportunity to create justice for us. They still refuse to. And this is not Jim Crow. This is not slavery. It's not segregation. It's none of that. Current day. Now, granted, some of those things still peeks his head out periodically, true. But we can't still be, well, we can't still have the mentality of, well, let's accept that they didn't treat us as humans. Let's accept that. Or the reason why is because they didn't treat. No, not in 2021. No. Nah. We're going to have to, put that on the back burner. And what we need to be cooking up now is we've been here. We're still here. We're not going nowhere. You're going to treat us justly. You're going to give us the same rights that you gave everyone else. And it's not even a point of asking now. That's done now. Ain't no need of asking. The reason why, because I think, and I can probably find it, but this whole bill that he just passed, you can count on maybe one hand, maybe two, that an Asian actually got killed during the assault of them. Historically, we have been killed. So you mean to tell me thousands of black lives over X amount of years, decades, whatever, was not equivalent to, let's say, 10 Asian lives in the last 18 months? And I'm talking deaths. I'm not talking about the abuse. Because if you put just the violence against blacks as compared to Asian, now we got a whole nother conversation. So you mean to tell me this 18, 24-month window was worth the bill? 24 months. It was worth the bill. 1 year, 2 years, 24 years, 240 years. It wasn't worth a bill for African Americans, huh? That's what this country decided they want us to believe. Something needs to be done. Something has to be done. And I think we should really get involved. Now, I'm almost inclined to be like, you know what? Boycott the Asian community. The nail salons, you know, Chinese stores, all this stuff. And granted, it's not to be malicious with them, but they benefiting. And we've never benefited. They're benefiting. So why should they keep continuously benefit off of a country that, let's be honest, we damn near built? And we haven't benefited off of it.
Maurice says, we as a people must stand for something or die for nothing. We need to come together as one.
I totally agree. Yes, we need to come together. But how do we do it? That's the moral compass that we're trying to find. How?
Well, Takira has a question on that. She says, there's never been a law to include us in it, or it was meant for everyone but us. We can't expect someone to write into law a bill for executive order for us when no one, including, is willing to even hold the pen.
I get it. And that's a valid point. I guess the problem I have with it is we've accepted this. Because let's be clear, we have a part to play in this too. See, unlike other races who they won't stop until they get what they want, we fizz out too fast. We're marched for 2 weeks. But we just marching in the street, pretty much clueless. We just walking. Basically, we just doing therapy. We just doing aerobics. We doing heart exercise, whatever they call that. We doing that. But we ain't getting nowhere. Them Asians, yeah, they went right to their local Congress. They went right to their local politicians who, in return, went to the next level of government, which went to the next level of government. That guess what happened? It caught the president's ear. But we sitting around here 2 weeks, okay, we done with it. Next tragedy, 2 weeks, we're done with it. Next tragedy. You see, we have a cycle too. But we have a cycle of leaving things open. We never close things. We leave them open. And until we start closing the deal, we will never, ever get the justice that we're overdue. As a people, as a race, we're not going to get it. So it's time now we close the deal on a lot of things. We can't keep walking this off, people. I'm sorry. We can't keep walking this off. Because we're actually teaching every other race, every government, every citizen that's not us, we're teaching them historically how to treat us. When slavery was here, we was less than. Okay. Jim Crow came, it was less than. Civil rights movement, all this, we was on the cusp. We have literally reverted back in a lot of ways to the days of not having a voice. Because we constantly walking things off. We got to do better. Now, I was watching this, I'm going to say, I think it was Netflix. It was a special called 13. It's about the 13th Amendment. And it's an organization, nonprofit, called ALEC, which stands for the American Legislation Exchange Council. They single-handedly started mass incarceration of black people. They're a nonprofit organization that works with the legislative branches to come up with model bills and things of that nature. And they are single-handedly responsible for mass incarceration, for 3 strikes. They created these bills. So there was a nonprofit organization that helped for-profit people keep us bound, bondage, however you want to call it. The prison system, thanks to them. The incarceration rate, thanks to them. From, I think they showed 1990 to current, has went over 300, 400%. When Reagan was in office, I think they said incarceration was like 500,000. By the time Bush got in office, it was 1.1. By the time Obama or his son and Obama got in office, it was 3 point something. Like Bill Clinton did the 3 strikes. All these things was created through ALEC. A nonprofit organization literally helped institutionalize slavery. That's where we're at. So even government has help keeping us down. Like, this is where we're at. Government is getting outside help to keep us in prison, to keep us below the poverty line.
That falls right into it. Takira says, remember America owes China a lot of money. So since you can't repay the debt, you pass a law to help benefit the one people you owe to keep them quiet. Half of everything we get and use is made in China. So I look at it like a hush bill.
Okay. I can go with that logic. A hush bill. Historically, okay, the Indians, Native Americans, the government paid them reparations in land that's untouchable. I think the First World War or something, the descendants of China was paid reparations, their family members, $20,000 per family member. I think Canada paid, it was another war, Canada paid reparations for their people. They was paid reparations for the Holocaust. Reparations. Have we seen a penny? 2021. When you talk about black people, African American slavery, and reparations, they say, oh, it's too tricky because, you know, who's deserving and who's don't deserving. So you mean to tell me when they pay the Chinese people these $20,000 per family member, they went back and they had enough time now to go back and look at every Asian that was killed, track down their families, and like they basically tracked down their families to give them this money, to say sorry. The Native Americans, they tracked down their lineage to give them this land and say sorry. But for African Americans, they can't track down the lineage? Really? That's too much work, huh? You mean to tell me the people that they hung, that their whole family was outside watching, including the children, they knew who he was, because he was pretty much property of a slave owner, which means he had documentation. You mean to tell me you can't find his family to give them what's rightfully theirs? So you mean to tell me Ancestry.com can find lineage faster than the government can? Only with us. With the Holocaust, they found those families. But they can't find, when it comes down to African Americans, they can't find the families, the lineage, the heritage. Really? It's not adding up, people. It's not adding up at all. So it's basically saying no matter how far we try to come, they will forever move the finish line with us. You know, some people think, you know, when Obama became president that, you know, we made it. Did we? Or was just the timing perfect? You know, housing market crashed. Automobile industry crashed. Gas through the roof. Part of me thinking this might be a conspiracy thought. They brought Obama, he became president, so they wanted to blame a black guy if shit didn't go right. But it didn't work out for him. So like I said, he didn't get a lot of things done, but he got enough done. They was like, damn it. So they was like, we got to restore this world back to its natural order. So here comes Donald Trump. You think it's you really think it's a coincidence that you go from Afro-American, well, let me be clear, a mixed president, his mother was white. It is what it is. But you go from 8 years of that, they were like, nah, we need one of us back in here. So they was willing, this country was willing to go from 8 years of traditional politics, Democrat, Republican, he was in the Senate, in Chicago, things of this nature. You know, normalcy of people that run and actually win, to taking pretty much a pimp. They was willing to make a pimp president before allowing a woman to be president. See, this world can't handle but so much change at one time. We not go from 8 years of Obama to Hillary Clinton, which they probably saying was pretty much might have been 12 years Obama. So let's get this guy who has no political aspirations. Like there's nothing about him suggests he can run the country. Everything he touched, he filed Chapter 11, 13 times. But they resonated with him because he was white power. And which is crazy, the country had a problem with China based on him. And this is before COVID. He already had a problem with China, personal problem. This is when shit like aluminum and things went through the roof. Tariff after tariff, they was back and forth, skyrocketing each other. So they already had a problem. Here comes COVID. Now it's everything. People keep thinking this man was not smart. This man was very smart. the Chinese flu, the Chinese this, the Chinese subliminal messages. China, 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 China. He been talking China from when he was running for office till he left office. He called it the China flu now. Subliminal messaging. So now everybody in their world had a problem with China, right? Now, here's where it gets dark. The word nigga was used way more than China, China, China. But this country didn't have a problem with that yet. They never had a problem with that word. You know what they say? Oh, don't say that. You know, that nigger, don't say that. They're African Americans. But they say it. But yet, no, saying the word China this, China that can get Chinese people beat up, hurt. But call somebody a nigger, they applaud that. This kind of lets you know within the legislative branches the blood still runs through the veins of your oppressor. It's generational. Because in order for them to agree that black people deserve reparations, at least acknowledgement of it, they have to admit what their ancestors did. They're not willing to do that yet. They'll never be willing to do that until we force that on them. Like, for instance, you ever notice when they kill an African-American black person, they'll go back to some shit he did in 1989 to justify. Now, this man might have did a year in jail for bogus check. 89. They killed him in 2021. Now, let's say from 1990 to current, he's been a hardworking citizen. He done reformed his life, did all these things. The media will not tell you that. Well, he's an ex-felon. Like, that's the headline, ex-felon. Never give you a date on when he was a felon. Half of them don't even give you the charge. But that's the narrative they have to paint us in. That's the brush. Before they even announce anything, they will make sure, dig. We need to find something corrupt about this person so we can spin it. And they keep doing this constantly, over and over and over. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it now, it just crossed my mind. When I was talking about the Alec situation. Alec is the reason why George Zimmerman got off for killing Trayvon Martin. They was the architects of Stand Your Ground. So let's be clear the power of what they have. Like, it's certain things you have to, you know how when you run the computer, they apps in the background? Alec is the app in the background of American law and culture. Research them. And you'll find out They're involved, heavy, in the way this country runs. Now, I noticed they were saying recently they got exposed for a couple of things, so they're trying to change the narrative. But what they wanted to get done already been done. Like, you notice how Biden came in and rechanged a lot of Trump policies? Have you noticed nobody ever, like I said, I haven't read it yet, I haven't seen it. Nobody ever changed the 3 strikes law? Like, certain laws can be amended, tweeted, tweak, however you want to use it. They don't touch that one. And now I'm wondering, with all the legalizations of marijuana that's going on throughout this country, what happened to those guys who damn near doing football numbers for ounces of weed? Who might have, that's part of their strikes. That you can mute their sentence? Like, what's going on? Like, what happens to these guys who doing 20 years instead of 2 years? And the color matches the numbers. White guy sell meth, he's in a rehab. Black guy sells coke, federal prison. It is what it is. Can't make this up. And less quantity at that. So, really have to pay attention, because they're not making it easier for us. And like I said, this bill was just one more proof, in your face, knife to the neck of African Americans, that you're never, ever, as long as the blood of our, families still runs within this government, you will never get justice at all. Like you see already, even with George Floyd, okay, he was found guilty. They found the loop. They trying to find loopholes. Hell, I think they might have found one. They trying their best to get a retrial. Based on some guy who decided he wanted to talk. And who had a shirt. And the questionnaire, he didn't fill it out the way they felt as though he should have. That alone is what they're using to want it to be a mistrial. What's this guy? Green from Louisiana. Footage coming out 2 years later. He was before George Floyd. And to be quite honest with you, got it worse than George Floyd did. There's 50 minutes of video for this one. And they suppressed it for almost 2 years. Told his mother he died in a car crash. Two years it took for this footage to finally leak. 2 years. They tried heaven and hell to cover this up. The video was disturbing. The cops did everything but pretty much called him the N-word. kept tasing him, beating him. It was 3. Now with Georgia, it was one main. You had some subs. These wasn't subs. All 3 of these was main. Then they dragged him by his ankle a little bit. Then you hear them saying, "Oh man, there's blood everywhere. I hope this boy don't have AIDS." Grown ass man, they called him a boy. Grown man. I hope he don't have AIDS. Okay, here's where it's really crazy. They literally took sanitizing wipes to clean themselves up. They did all of this before even trying to get him help. They cleaned all the blood off of them. Then comes the audio. Yeah, we finally got him, and he just went limp. He just went limp. Tased him, beat him, drug him, but he just went limp. You tell his family he was in a car crash. Car accident, really. 2019. I think it was May 10th. The extent they went to cover this up is criminal within itself. But they were saying, "Oh, we're looking at..." You had 2 years. How in 2021 y'all saying y'all looking at it? You've been looking at it since 2019. You had this footage in your possession for 2 whole years. Now that it comes out, well, we're looking at it and we're trying to, see what really happened. Come on, you know what happened. It's been 2 years. So basically what they saying was May 10th, 2019, they told the family he was in a car accident. He died in a car crash. They tried to close that thing in June 2019. Never think it was going to resurface. They had no intentions of trying to get to the truth of it. No intentions of trying to get justice. No intentions of holding their officers accountable. 2021, they still the one that I think they said the one that did the beating, the most of the injury, that did the most of the blunt of the injuries. He died in a car accident. Guess shit happens. The other 2 was suspended or something or desk duty or something for 50 days. 50 days. This family was lied to for 2 years. But they got 50 days of administrative situation. 50 days. Basically 2 months. Then they went on about their way. Kept serving and protecting. Now, the thing is, when you think about this, let's think about all the ones that went under the radar. The ones where they shut the cam off. Or let's think about the ones that cam was on and it still hasn't came out yet. Because one thing we do know about these cams, it still won't make them admit that they're guilty. Breonna Taylor, Cam, Sleet, bogus warrant. No justice for her. With Cam. We are currently living in the days where it's time to fight. Fight hard too. I hope y'all ready to truly fight. And when I say fight, I'm not even talking about physically. Because the pen is mightier than the sword. Legislation for us. If we can march for anything at this point, we damn near march for anything. If they did the Million Man March to D.C., I really believe they should do another one. But do the March on Washington for the George Floyd Act. But something has to be done with the pen. I saw him sign that damn thing. He had 15 pens. All we need is one. One fucking pen. One pen. For him to scribble his name. One. He had 15 for the Asian Act. All we need is one. Now, does this start local, then go state, then go federal in order to get this done? If so, then let's start there. Get certain local laws changed, which turn into state laws, which turn into federal. But it's the pen. We need signatures that's going to improve the safety, the life, and well-being of black people. We need that pen to move in our direction. The time is now. He ain't been in office, 120 days? Boom, that pen on fire. That pen is on fire with him. Nothing for us, but it's on fire for everybody else. Let's come together and start forcing them to use that pen for us. It's time. What do you think? Think it's time? Do you think we're worthy of that pen? These are certain questions you probably have to ask yourself. Because I damn sure know I'm sick of everybody else getting ahead of us. And we got to stop looking towards black quote unquote leaders who only show up to the dance. They ain't gonna do no fighting, but they show up to the damn parade. Each one of us within ourselves is the leader we're looking for outside of ourselves. Let's start demanding the pen. Let's start demanding that pen work for us. No better time than the current situation. So once again, I ask, do you want change? What are you willing to do to establish change? How far are you willing to go to see it through? You gotta ask yourself those questions. But be honest with yourself when you answer. Because right now, there's an Asian restaurant right now talking all kinds of shit, hoping you say something. Because they feel as though they protect it. You know, they'll do that shit to you right now. They know the pen. We on high alert. There's no place safe for us to go. At all. No place safe for us to go. In our own way, we're still prisoners. In the same country that made us prisoners. In the same country that said they stopped us from being prisoners, only to make us prisoners again, only to finally let us go, only to say not really. This is where we're at. So on that note, I'm going to leave y'all with this. June 12th, 1 p.m., 6 p.m., Grown Folks Brunch, 80s edition. Get your 80s gear. Let's get right. Remember, this is 40 and over. If you're 38, we ain't making no exceptions. We got vendors that's going to be there. So it's kind of like a pop-up shop, and you can eat, you can dance, you can mingle, you can be social. Yeah, it's just a beautiful thing to attend. Come on out to Grown Folks Brunch, 80s editions. I'm going to be out of here in approximately 10 seconds. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to Duality Podcast. Big shout out to my partner, my cousin, my brother, Mr. Social. Wish him a speedy recovery. Be here next week. I'm Mr. Business. Peace.